I'm ready.
Oh, me too.
This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing.
So, I did have a thought.
Okay.
Which has got nothing to do with my list, so I didn't really need to do that. Was that, what if we were to play Roses and Thorns?
Okay. About what?
About this time together.
Okay, about our time together. That's brutally non-specific, which is what I like.
Is that because it's important to be non-specific?
I mean, but yes, I like the idea of Roses and Thorns exploring our first meetup in 4 years.
Correct. And so...
Oh, that sounded like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, 4.5 years.
4.5 years, yeah,
close
2018.
To
close to 5 years. Oh, Jim.
Oh, no, exactly 4.5 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, tell me, just a quick overview of what Roses and Thorns is.
Okay. So, in
For those who don't know.
Yeah.
There's
in our
other
house,
things in other places, isn't it?
in our house, it's called Bests and Worsts.
Oh.
Yeah, same thing. Which is effectively, in our house, bests and worsts are your three bests and your three worsts.
Yes.
I'm not sure if in your house, Roses and Thorns has a different numbering structure. Like
3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so
definitely
it's the same.
3 and 3.
Okay, so
and the other thing is you can't repeat.
You can't repeat. That's right.
So if you said one of your best things was
you'd have to
kissing
knock
me,
it. Yeah.
I would not be able to say kissing me.
Yeah, kissing but you would be able to say kissing me was one of your.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Oh,
Or are we going to go one and one?
We go one and one.
One and one.
And also one rose, one thorn, one rose, one rose. Oh, do you not do that?
No, that's fine. I'm really happy. So in our house, bests and worsts is you 3 bests, 3 worsts.
Oh,
no
and you
repetition.
start with bests.
Depends.
You don't want to finish on a bad note.
I think it depends whether you're like half glass. Nope, glass half full. That's him gesturing for his half empty glass of wine.
So yes, and
I like your version for a podcast.
Right, one. Right, and how do we decide who starts?
I'm pointing at you.
Oh, God, you are too.
So
this is my first rose.
Your first rose, or best.
Okay, so I'm going to see last night's meal, which was at a place. It was let's just call it a chicken place. Yeah. So all of you vegetarians,
switch
vegans,
off now.
Yeah, but we were served an extraordinarily simple meal, a very, very simple meal.
Chicken and chips.
Basically, chicken and chips with rice and also a salad, tomatoes and onions, and a bottle of very cheap wine.
Very cheap and very young wine.
Very young and cheap. And that was absolutely. There's something about the taste and just the pleasure of that kind of food. Yep, just really that's my kind of food. Not the chicken-ness of it, but which was really nice, but just something about that very simple, like kind of home-cooked, nothing fancy, total plain as anything, place to sit, etc. Absolutely, if anyone thinks I'm a highfalutin eater, that was right on the money. That one for me.
So
lots of places in Melbourne like that.
Yeah,
lots of places.
Are there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, there's fantastic restaurants, but those kinds of places, there are lots of them. Yeah.
So, full disclosure, we're in Lisbon. What happened was Simon had a showing of some work at a gallery.
No, like in a film festival.
Oh, in a film festival.
World premiere.
World premiere of one of his films. And he mentioned it to me, and it was over a weekend. And I said, I could do with spending 1 or 2 whole days organising the flat. So do you want to come over and stop at ours, which might well turn out to be one of the thorns. So that's where we are.
Which
and
doesn't explain the hotel, does it?
but that might be a thorn. So that's the context. And I think I was a bit anxious about saying we're in Lisbon because it, first of all, sounds like we're here for a long time. We're not. We're like here for 2 days. And it might feel like we're having a jolly. It's the squeeziest of squeezy weekends possible. So where Simon is having his first rose is in a chicken shop called Chicken Hell. No, it's not. You get it wrong all the time.
Chicken.
Hell's Chicken, which is just
Like Hell's Kitchen?
Hell's Kitchen, but Hell's Chicken. And it's just down the road, and it's been open since early summer. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's everything that Simon described it as. It's a little hole in the wall. When they first opened, they were just cooking their chicken on half oil drums outside until they got the kitchen ready. So so there you go. Okay.
But also the other thing about that is that it turns out we'd organised the trip, and it turns out that the film is not being premiered on this weekend. It's happening during the week when I'm not here.
Yeah.
So I tried. I made a good effort to.
But at least you were able to see the venue. We didn't go past the venue. Who am I kidding? You know where it is, broadly speaking, in the city.
I know the city.
So you've been to the city? There you
I've
go.
been to the city. Yeah.
Okay, so my first best / bros, if you want to, if you're keeping score on appropriate language, is Simon's generosity. So the last 2 days have been a miasma of complications. Muito complicado. It's been really tricky because we were supposed to come straight to the flat, and I got a message as I was in transit to the airport saying, "Hey Lee, the flat's still not ready. There's some stuff that needs to happen. Can you stay at this hotel?" And so it was very kindly by the people who were doing the work on our flat, was put up in a hotel.
But you didn't tell them that you had a
But
friend.
I didn't tell them I had a friend. So then what happened is that me and Simon, who have known each other for many, many years, and may have dozed off on the same sofa, but have never fallen asleep in the same bed before.
I mean, I've dozed off in pretty much every room when I've been... Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you falling asleep on the floor.
One of my for those eagle-eared listeners, my superpower is the capacity to fall asleep anywhere, anytime, except during the night in bed. And I have no problem falling asleep, but I'll wake up.
Yeah, but as if I needed more as if I needed more evidence, Simon has been incredibly tolerant of my fizziness over the last couple of days as I have tried to reconstitute a flat that had been squashed into one room.
It's been difficult for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, and negotiate.
Not ideal conditions to have someone staying.
No, because I was having my trauma witnessed in real time.
Well, you did push me out the door.
I actually
really, just so that I didn't
literally
see
put his shoes on and forced him. Actually, no, I didn't even let you come here until I'd had 2 hours to...
I had to slog around Lisbon with a full backpack for an entire morning. Wow,
But
it's right.
That is true. Yeah, you did.
That didn't even make my. That hasn't even made my thorn list.
Oh, right. Okay. So my rose, my first best is Simon's generosity.
Thank you. That's very kind. What a lovely thing to say.
It's a true story.
Oh, so thorn now.
You're doing a thorn now.
Okay. I have to say that the first night here, during the day, I got very, very cold.
Yes.
I got deeply
bone cold.
Bone cold.
Yeah. Right down.
Yeah, really.
To the middle.
That wasn't pleasant. That wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, okay, so to put it into context, Simon was dressed like Scott of the Antarctic, and I was walking around barefoot in shorts and a T-shirt. So it's safe to say...
You were doing things, though.
I was
you were busy.
I was doing things.
Busy traumaing.
I was negotiating trauma. But I was aware that I couldn't feel anything below the calf. So it's not like I was thinking.
I was thinking,
it's
why don't
balmy.
you just Marie the Kondo the fuck out of this place?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah. So I hear you.
You know, I'm not. That's not aimed at you, though. You
No,
understand that.
it's aimed at the fact that it's December and that I had windows open on both sides of the flat.
You really did.
I'm still airing it out. You know that we had lots of leaks, everybody.
Do they?
And I think so. I think you've heard the leaking roof story. Have they?
I think you hit
Did
it.
I hit it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did I hide it, I think is what I went to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so since September, our roof has been leaking, and in a variety of ways, and it has been increasing levels of catastrophic, and poor Bob has been the first person to come and encounter it on every single occasion.
Except
this time. And the leak has stopped. The roof has been fully requalified, as they say in Portuguese.
Requalified.
Requalified, that's the word.
And what would you say? Fixed. In
Yeah,
English.
fixed. But requalified is how they say it. It's lovely, isn't it?
Can you say it in Portuguese for the listeners?
It's basically requalified, only with an accent. Requalified. I can't say it.
That's
Requalification. Oh, no, I can't do it. I've had a glass of wine. And I need to see it written down to remember.
Anyway, you'll cut that out. Anyway.
I probably won't. Yeah. So poor Bob has had to experience this, and I wanted to get here for like 2 days to just tidy the place up, unpack everything, see that the work had been done, was up to snuff, and I want to say it is. Yeah. They've done a very lovely job.
And you have transformed it over these last...
thanks.
This last day and a half.
Yeah, it's not quite as cold as it was.
That's true. It was quite mild today.
And it also helps.
Oh, the flat. Yeah.
The flat. Oh, yeah, the flat. Sorry. But yeah, so it was a cold day when we arrived to the flat, and also I had the windows open, just trying to get some air through the building to get rid of some of that thing.
Moisture.
So I guess as a kind of back
story.
That's a backstory. But now I'm going to backfill my thorn, which is not the same as Simon's, which is it was cold. Mine is it was wet.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thank heavens for dehumidifiers, but it's getting there.
So I've got another
Rose.
Yep. Second rose.
Mm-hmm.
Rose number 2. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't do another food one because I'm so predictable.
No, you can do another food one. For sure, because I've got one. And you
Today,
don't have, and I went, I shitter! You shitter! I can't believe you're doing that.
Today, oh, shall I say it for you?
No, you do it.
Today for dinner. Today for dinner, a very early dinner, we had we went to a place called Crush Donuts, and we had donuts for dinner. And they were Christmas themed.
They were Christmas themed. So I had the gingerbread man donut, and you had the Christmas tree. No, you didn't. You had the Christmas pudding donut.
That's right.
Yeah. These are donuts that are roughly the size of a 6-week-old baby's head.
Yeah. It was quite substantial. Quite tangible. I think it pretty much covered all the major food groups, though. If you were thinking about the top of the food pyramid.
Yeah.
We cover the entire top of the food pyramid.
If the food pyramid is Everest, we were absolutely at the summit, and we had climbed past a lot of corpses.
I planted my flag in the top of that food pyramid. So yes, it was, but also the pleasure, of course. It was nice. You were also quite excited, which was fantastic.
I was
great
quite excited.
reasons.
Yeah,
and
I'd had some good news.
Yeah, and it was also really fantastic because we were 2 middle-aged men having donuts for dinner at 4:30 in the afternoon,
and we didn't really look up until they'd suddenly gone. And it's like
it
took about.
We forgot to take a photo.
That's
we didn't even Instagram the shit out of those.
We didn't even send the photograph of the donuts to our respective spouses.
I was all for making some TikTok choreography.
I was just going to send it to people I knew and go, I'm eating a donut.
So yeah, that's my second rose. Sorry to steal it from you.
That's okay. I will go with the fact that I went to the laundrette today. This is one of my roses, and this is there's going to be. It's just basically going to be a theme, is it?
I can just hear people just pulling their headphones out their ears now. Okay, I'm going to move on to I don't know Joe Rogan now.
Yeah, go to Joe Rogan. He wouldn't be quite as excited about going to the laundrette and tumble drying.
Do his own laundry.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't. And I wasn't even doing my own laundry. I was tumble drying 6 feather pillows that had gotten a little moist in the leakage.
In the cold and wet.
In the cold and wet. And, when they came out of the tumble dryer, they were so fluffy and they were so warm, and they still are fluffy, and they smell like little clouds of heaven. That was one of my bests.
Okay.
Thorn.
Nice. Thorn number 2. I think I'm going to have to say this, and I'm a little bit wary of saying it, but it's not quite. It's a weird thing because it's both a rose and a thorn. It doesn't really make sense.
Okay. So,
But I'm just going to say that when I didn't know quite how to behave because of you being here, and it was clear that it was best if I not be here.
Yeah.
And so that is not easy, but also the solution's super easy.
Go
and
away.
Also, yeah, exactly. Leave
Get out.
Get out. And so I think it's. I mean, I think it's just because it might be interesting. It's just interesting to talk about or mention. That is not because I don't want to exaggerate that, but when you're in someone else's space and you're occupying their space, you're dropping water on the already wet floor. You're astounded by these magical bookshelves which are like something out of Harry Potter, and and I think that really gets close to personal awkwardness for me, like I've done something wrong territory, which I hadn't, and there's no absolutely that's clear, but so I was just that it was. Yeah, that was intriguing. And as I say, nothing, because I totally get it. I totally, from your perspective, I totally understand the situation.
Yeah, and I think that's probably my second thorn, is that I couldn't work out how to be me in relation to another person. Yeah. So when I've got things...
Was that stressful?
It took up bandwidth in my head. I'm not sure that it was stressful because... when I've got, and I think if you were to have a conversation with Bob would go, yeah, this is how he is. If there is stuff that has to be done, you just leave the house.
Yes.
And that's probably how she copes with it, that she doesn't try and intervene into, or she doesn't offer help. If I need help, I will say, do this.
But she's, of course, not a guest here.
No, of course. No, completely different. No, and I know. And I'm not trying to qualify or defend. I think I'm actually saying my inability to know how to behave in that in that expression of fizziness, because I don't want to call it anxiety, because I just want to be really clear. I know that there's just like such privilege to be talking about this in my flat in Lisbon about how it's been a bit damp. So but nevertheless, there is still that genuinely felt sense of needing to get something sorted and being witnessed in the process of trying to get something sorted, and just kind of not wanting to be seen at not your best.
Yeah. Well,
so I wasn't allowed. I wasn't able to host you, which really bothers me.
But I think you actually disagree in the sense that you were able to quite clearly articulate, get out of the house. To be fair,
that is fair. I did say, "Please go away."
No, you did not. That's not true at all, and you did not say it like that. But I think you did a pretty good job of that, given what you've just said about yourself. But it didn't not make me feel a little bit. I've been invited. I've been invited to Lisbon, and I'm being kicked out.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's also there's a part of a rose in there as well, because it's revealing about. There's something about that moment, or those moments, which reveal something about you, and they reveal something about me, and also the pleasure I had by myself, which, of course, let's be clear, I really enjoy spending time by myself, especially in exploring a place that I've never been to.
So what's your last rose?
Oh, wait. That was your...
Yeah,
right.
My second thorn is my behaviour. I mean... I want to dial that down. I don't feel like it was.
You were the spoiled child.
I wanted to. I wanted to be able to host you, and I could not. Partly because the room that you're supposed to be in is waiting to be painted, and all of those sorts of things. There's just stuff that makes it impossible for you to have your own space, and for you to be able to just go, okay, now I can withdraw and be Simon or without being witnessed, and that, all of those sorts of things.
I did. Hang on, what am I up to?
You're about to do your
Third Rose.
Third Rose.
I've always, when I've played this game, I always had that moment of going, oh no, have I missed a really obvious rose that the other person would be slightly upset that I didn't mention that? And so I'm having that moment now. But I think I'm going to say is absolute beauty of watching your delight in setting up the smallest of things in this space, and part of returning them to how you want them to be or how they were, I don't know. And just simple things, dear listeners, like a light or a fancy record player. Or it's not very
fancy. It's from
IKEA.
IKEA.
Yeah. And just that just absolute pleasure in seeing someone else's delight in the small things in life. Number 3.
A lot of the delight comes from the fact that I know that I'm doing it for Bob. So I'm hanging things on the wall, and also I just need to say that the guys who did the work on the flat did such a good job, but they took down every single nail and screw that I had put up, and sometimes, often, with quite a lot of drilling involved. I mean, there's still no headboard up because I can't find the holes where the headboard screws used to be because they've been filled and plastered and painted
within an inch of their lives.
Oh my God, they've done such a good job.
Actually, the weird thing about this particular version of the podcast is that normally when we speak, we don't really know the experiences of the other person. But this is at a time when we're pretty much, because we've been in each other's pockets, except when I was kicked out. So I know the stories, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, this is quite a selfish one, I think, in a way.
Go selfish.
And it's the joy that I get from watching somebody discover the city that I love. Even if they don't like it.
Even if they're doing it by themselves.
Oh my God. It's true. Oh. I haven't gone to any... I showed him some metro stations.
You showed me a bus ride tonight.
Oh. That can be a thought.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that was special.
But yeah, so to watch somebody start to see what I see, and not in the kind of like Praça de Comercial, Santa Justa of the, not all of those kind of like, picture
fancy
postcard
schmizzy,
things,
yeah,
but like just the bits of Lisbon that make me go, this is just cool. Like today, you talking about the colour of the buildings, because everything is so...
Or the mosque. I went past the mosque, the central mosque.
Central mosque is gorgeous.
Magnificent.
Or the various... I don't want to call it graffiti because it's sort of bigger and smaller than that. But the buildings that are painted, the murals that are painted, the structures that are put on the sides of buildings, just that
amazing.
And so many of them, I'm thinking around
seeing them for the first time.
Yeah. Like when we were in Picoas, where with the Parisian and the Parisian underground side,
and then the buildings that are coming down,
which are and have been there for years, but. I
put a photo of them in the show notes, but of course I don't really take that many photos. So.
I think I probably got one. But just watching Simon have those experiences, but also hearing the things that he came back with when I was busy cleaning, was that was a real joy.
So I've got one last one, huh?
Mm-hmm. One thorn.
I got to say, I think this is probably not that surprising. That it's kind of nice as well, but. Not knowing a word of the language of visiting, and that it's like quintessential tourist, which is I'm coming to you with the expectation that the only way we can communicate is if you communicate in my language, which of course that English virus. One of the reasons I started learning Italian was I despised that feeling so much that I thought I cannot just keep doing that. And so it was hard to go back to, but also confronting to, and also I think I get just a little bit nervous about that, and of course people are fantastic, and even the ones that didn't speak any English, we found a way to say sweet when I was...
Because you spoke Italian to them, and Italian
was close enough,
is closer than... Italian is
well, when I think
closer
foreign
than
languages,
English.
that's the only one I've got, so that's what comes out. But I think that is a... I think there's something an awesome responsibility as a tourist to go to the trouble of please, thank you, hello, goodbye, like 10 words, and I didn't do that. In part because English speakers don't need to.
Yeah. My final rose was... Thorn, sorry, the bad one, was... there was a window of time today after I kicked you out where nothing was going right. I could not see the floor in the bedroom. I was trying to put a shelf up and the wall was crumbling around me. And I just thought, I don't know. I can't...
I just looked at Lee and went, really?
Yeah, it
and
really
mouthed
was.
Really.
Yeah. And it was just getting to the point where I thought, I'm being bested now. But that sense of it everything going askew and awry, and thinking, the one thing I wanted to do was to be able to return the flat to some semblance of normal, so that when Bob comes, because Bob will come a couple of days after I get home, the idea that I wasn't going to be able to just get things so that for the first time since late summer, Bob wouldn't walk into an absolute shit show where she was finding yet more things going wrong. He just wanted to be able to return something to her. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to do it.
You'd already done that, though, hadn't you, in a way? It's been quite... I know that's pretty simple handyman stuff, as it goes, said he.
Who doesn't own a hammer drill.
Yeah, I don't even have a drill. I've got... Well, no, Lil does. Lil's got a big set of screwdrivers. I don't.
Just to be clear, screwdrivers and drills are not the same thing.
If you push hard enough.
I've got a hammer drill and I've also got a normal drill, so I can drill into masonry and I can also drill into wood. But this is nothing compared to the 9 drills that my dad has. I told you over the summer he took me to show...
How isn't that awesome that when he dies you'll get all those drills?
I mean, honestly, I was like, why the fucking hell do I have one of his drills today? Not that I'm wishing my dad dead, but if he had just given me... Although, in fairness, he did give me the drill that I was using, so I'm just being greedy.